Hello and welcome to the channel. And in this video we're going to be talking about processing arrays again. We're going to look at now, instead we're going to just use the enhanced for loop. That's actually also called the for each loop. And what this is basically just a little bit of an easier way for you to process an array using this style of loop. Alright, so it's fairly simple. In previous videos we kind of went through processing the array using just a normal loop, a normal for loop, and we got input from the user, kind of created a little mock program or whatever. So in this one I'm just actually going to create an array, and I'm already going to have values in it, so we're just going to call it names, and we'll make that equal to, we need to set it up as an array, so there we go. And we need to, we're just going to put values into it. I'm going to knock this down to the next level, and I'll start inputting values into it. So just make up a bunch of names. It doesn't matter what names you put. You can follow along with these, or you can add your own. Just get a couple out there. Oh, you'd have in a string. A couple more. Bob. Alright, so there's our names in our list. Okay, sorry. It doesn't matter what they are. Just we're making an array and having values already put into it. Just to kind of get through this a little bit quicker. There's a couple things with the for loop, the enhanced for loop, that you'll need to know. So when we did in the other video, we used the regular for loop. I'll just call this one the regular. Enhanced for loop. So this is a regular one, and when you remembered, we just did an int x equal to 0, and then we said x is less than the names dot length, right? And then we went x dot dot, and that was our, or x plus plus, and that was our way of making up this kind of regular type loop. But if you notice over here, if I hover for a second, it says use enhanced for loop to iterate over the array. So what'll happen here is you can definitely use this type of loop down here, the regular one, and it'll work just fine. It'll be normal. But if you want to just go blast right through from, you know, the first kind of element of the array to the very end, then the for each will be the way to go. And you can type this. It's basically the same thing, but now instead of using this, you know how we set up a counter variable here in a sense to, you know, pop it into the index value for us. Well, the for each doesn't do that. What it does is you use the same data type that your array is created. So if this was a double, you'd use double here. Since it's a string, we'll use string. And we're setting up a variable here, so we can call this anything we want. We can call it x. We can call it name, just kind of because it is, you know, it's a single name out of our names array, so it kind of makes sense. And then we put a full colon here, followed by the actual name of the array. Alright, so now this is where the name of the array just pops in. You don't have to put in the actual brackets, that'll throw you an error. You just have to leave it as that, and I'll kind of explain what's going on here. When we come into our loop, or down to our loop here, we take this loop is kind of the same thing, but it's built all this stuff in. So it knows the length of the array already. It knows kind of what's going on for the counter. It takes all that into consideration. So it looks at the array and it says take the first value of the array, the 0, and we'll pop it into this variable, and that can be used down here inside of our loop. So I'll just go through it here. We'll go system.out.print line. Alright, and then we can say, we'll just say like member name, and then we'll add that name variable in. Now it's very important not to use the actual array, because that's not necessary at this point. You're actually using this variable name right here in order to go through it, because every time it comes through it just pops the next one in. So it'll go to this one, pop it in, print it out, come back around, it'll get the next one, take this one, put it in here, print it out. Okay, so that's kind of the flow of this, and it's very helpful when you're trying to get through the array from top to bottom type of thing, from the first element to the last element. I'll show you here with the run. As you can see, it just went through exactly how our array was set up here, from the first James, Jim, Jane, all the way down to the end. So it's very helpful when just you need to run through it right from top to bottom. Now there is a couple things that you're going to want to watch for here, because if you start getting into wanting, say if you wanted to take this data and kind of use it in a little bit more of a like processed way. So how I could explain that would be, say if you wanted James and you wanted to skip a name and go to Jane, and then skip to Bill and John, and kind of get every second name out of the array, well then the for each isn't going to be for you. You're not going to use that one when it comes down to it. There's ways to do so, but it's not really helpful in that regards, because this for loop, the regular one's kind of already set up to do so. So in this form we could actually do, like, we'll print out all the even numbers, even elements. So like this element starting at 0, you know, this one would be 1, so this would be 2, that's an even number. We'll print that one, so we'll go with the 0, we'll go with the 2, we'll go with 4, we'll go with 6, and so forth and so on. Alright, so when you want to do something like that, when you want to kind of process the data out of your array differently, then you definitely want to start using this array. And I'll show you that you can use the for each for it, but it essentially takes the same setup as this once you go through it. So we'll just take out, oh, I don't need to do that, just go member name, we'll do this again, and then we'll just put in, now we have to actually use the array itself, and then we'll pop in the X value to continuously change the index of the array. Alright, so that's one way of going about it. Now this is only going to print out every single name, so let's now get it to print out every second. So we put an if statement in here, and we can actually use the X in this form, and if we take the modulus 2, or divide it by 2, and whatever the remainder is will give us our kind of every second or even number. And if we say it's equal to 0, when the remainder is equal to 0, it'll give us, it'll allow us to print this out. So we'll put this up inside here now, and then we can actually just run this up, and we'll get every, you know, even every even part of it. Oh, I want to go like this, system dot o dot dot print line. I'm just going to say this is the even even names, or even elements, we'll say. It's easier to say that. Even elements, all right? And maybe we'll give it a new line just beforehand too, so we can kind of see what's going on. And then this one's just like, we can even put that up there if you want, all elements. Pretty simple like so. We don't really need these extra lines in there. Okay, so we can run this now and you'll see that if this works properly, you should have James, Jane, Bill, John, James, Jane, Bill, John. Okay, so you can see that we're getting all the actual even elements outside of it. This one will print off all of them really nicely for you quick. Very nice piece of code for you. It's not very helpful when you're trying to process out different chunks of the array. Okay, so just remember that when the for each loop is kind of for processing it from top to bottom, straight run through. If you need to do that, that's perfect for what you're doing. And see, if you notice here, we no longer get that suggestion because it knows that we're not really trying to go through it in that form anymore. If you were just to run through it like that from top to bottom, then it would definitely call for this for each loop, right? And same thing goes, we can now, I can show you up here really quickly of a way that you can do this. We'll do all the odd, we'll change this to making the odd, but now we'd actually have to come up here and say, you know, index is 0. And if we come down here, and then we can do this if, now if we take the index value that's outside of it, and we can say modulus 2 is equal to 1. So every time it does return an actual remainder value with it, then we'll print this out. So now we can change this from all to the odd elements. Okay, and that'll actually print out every one of the, oh, and we actually still need one more piece. We do need to put the index plus plus down here now. Okay, so as you can see, we're already kind of defeating our purpose now. When we already have this index and we have this value available, where, you know, it's far more beneficial just to pop it in here, not have to worry about writing variables and keeping them outside. They're already contained inside our for loop for us. So doing this is a little bit of a headache when it comes down to it, but I'll show you that it is possible. It's not that it's not possible, it's just, it's not really, I guess, a sense, the proper way of doing it. So as you can see, the odd elements now, so we skipped James, we went to Jim, Sam, Craig, and then it's the even guys here. So you can see we missed all the odds and went for all the evens. Okay, so that's two different ways of going about it. But again, if you're going to do this, you might as well just reset it to, you might as well use it with the actual normal loop. It's just a lot better built in already, ready to go for you. So it's kind of a waste of time to make it that way. So I mean, this would be simple. Change this to a 1, change this to odd, and you're pretty much good to go now. And there's the loop again with the odd values. So that's the for each loop when you're looking to go right directly through an array, and then use the actual regular for loop when you're looking to kind of process different elements of the array differently. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions or ideas for future videos, put in the comment section below. If you could subscribe to the channel, it'd be great, and check out the rest of the videos, and we'll catch you in the next video.